biggest issue of sustainability at the moment, which is global warming. And remember that the future is not about emotion. It's not about facts, it's about emotion. It's about the emotional attachment and passion generated by this graph here. And whatever your views about it may be, the fact is that this graph will drive decisions in every business and every household for the next 35 years. This graph represents the greatest new business opportunity that this world has seen for the last 30 years. Inside this graph, there is $40 trillion of new business activity. Every task that is taken by society to deal with the problem of global warming will be taken by a business, almost all of them. Suppose the government in my country decides to build a huge dam across a tidal barrier, and so the tide coming in drives. Who's going to build it? A business. Suppose the government of Germany adds further price differentials to encourage people to put solar cells on their roofs. Who's going to provide them? A business. So business will be at the heart of the response to global warming, and a lot of it is connected with distribution and logistics. Why? Because that uses a lot of energy. Let's just come back to one of the areas where I've noticed it. Just look at the petrochemical industry. You ship a lot of product around, I guess, in this industry. Maybe not. Perhaps you should. The petrochemical industry at the moment uses hundreds of millions of kilometers a year of lorry driving. And I discovered an interesting fact. In Germany, in France, in Switzerland, and in London, and in the UK, are almost identical factories producing almost identical chemicals. And what we've got is a crazy situation in Europe. We've got, I know this because I went to lecture to the European Petrochemical Association, so this is where I found out about it. We've got a crazy situation. You've got the chemicals being transported from Germany, from one of your petrochemical giants, to the north of England to be turned into plastic bottles, which are empty. Even more scandalous, these empty plastic bottles are then shipped all the way down to Spain to be filled with product, and then they're sold in Turkey. Even more crazy, the craziest bit of all of this craziness from the logistics point of view is that on the way from Frankfurt all the way down the motorway and through the Channel Tunnel and out through to the north of England, that lorry passed 10 other lorries, zoom, at 200 kilometers per hour, zoom, one going 100 kilometers one way per hour, the other going 100 kilometers the other way per hour. And they passed each other on the same motorway carrying almost identical product. That in fact, if they'd suddenly stopped, said, "What have you got in that lorry?" "Well, same stuff." They could have just turned around and driven straight back home again. And we calculated with the European Petrochemical Association, I did a quick calculation, that if we had a product exchange operating across the EU, we could save 100 million kilometers a year of truck driving. That's a lot. If you think how congested our roads are, 10 million litres of fuel we'd save, and we'd save $35 million. And you know what the cost was of doing that? We worked it out. It would cost the Petrochemical Association thinks it would cost 100,000 euros a year to do it. It would require one person and a dog and a couple of computers and a web page. And basically, that's what it would be. 100,000 euros to take out 100 million kilometers of totally useless, immoral logistics traffic. And there are examples of those kinds of efficiencies which could happen all over the place within the European Union right now.